your big story breakdown.
There are all kinds of things that could have been done to make some sort of justice here that didn't happen.
In tonight's big story breakdown, we're looking at sexual violence among teens. This comes as we continue to follow a story that outraged an Oklahoma community, and as word spread, the state, the nation, even media outlets overseas picked it up.
A high school baseball player from Stillwater arrested and charged with sex crimes against girls his own age. Many say the now 18-year-old senior should be doing jail time or at least have to register as a sex offender. But a judge didn't order any of that for Jesse Butler. Instead, he's facing only youthful offender charges and punishment. And that is something that dozens of women in Stillwater, along with an attorney representing one of the victims, say isn't justice.
Paige Taylor brings us a story you'll see only right here on Fox 25.
In the streets of Stillwater, calls for justice.
The justice system here in Stillwater has allowed a violent sex offender to walk free.
Oklahomans, some the same age as those involved, saying the punishment does not fit the crime.
I want him to get what he deserves.
Justice would look like not being raped. But we can't go back and do that.
Attorney Rachel Bussett represents one of Jesse Butler's victims and her family. She says her client was in a relationship with Butler, and she reported to police Butler said he wanted to strangle her so he could film it on his phone.
There is video evidence of my client being strangled. There has been a lot of controversy on the internet about alleging that that was consent.
And she was not the only one. Another girl came forward with similar stories. She had to have surgery to repair damage to her neck.
There are issues of people not understanding the power and control element that exists in relationships.
The Payne County DA charging Butler with 11 crimes, including 2 counts of attempted rape in the first degree, 3 counts of rape by instrumentation, and 2 counts of domestic assault and battery by strangulation.
Even though he was a teenager at the time, many people think he should face jail time, but Payne County officials didn't see it that way.
Butler was arrested and initially charged as an adult, but the judge granted the now 18-year-old what is called youthful offender status.
The district attorney's office did not tell my client that they were consenting to it being a youthful offender charge.
Butler pleaded no contest to the charges and agreed to a deal with prosecutors that limits his punishment to simply include 150 hours of community service, no social media, daily check-ins, and counseling. The victims and their many supporters say it's not enough.
The clients are not happy with the plea deal. It was not discussed with them. They did not approve of it, and that it should not have been handled the way that it was handled.
And that they will always be haunted by what happened to them.
She is having a hard time coping. You know, as a young woman of that age, they're already going through so many things.
While he will have records erased in less than a year.
There are no consequences. He's not a registered sex offender. He doesn't have a conviction.
The defense and the DA coming to a controversial plea deal.
There is a lot of calling on the internet of attacking the district attorney, the judges. There is also a lack of understanding about how the justice system works. The plea deals are worked out between the district attorney's office and the defense attorney's office, and that's standard across the board.
As for what could come next,
we're investigating what civil options are available.
Even with the possibility of civil compensation, the victims, their families, and many people in the town of Stillwater know there's a long road ahead for these young girls.
That trauma is going to come up over and over again in her life when he seemingly will just go on and do whatever with little to no consequences.
Paige Taylor, Fox 25 News.
Well, if either of the victims and their families do decide to file a civil suit against Butler, we'll bring you that update as soon as it happens.
Jesse Butler was back in the Payne County courtroom today for his first review since being sentenced in August for pleading no contest to all charges involving the rape of multiple victims. Fox 25's Rob Hagan breaks down what unfolded in court today.
This is the side entrance that Jesse Butler used to enter and exit the courtroom, causing tense moments inside from one man who says he's receiving preferential treatment.
Jesse, why did you rape those girls, Jesse? Jesse, why did you rape the girls? Do you have anything to say to the victims, Jesse? Do you have anything to say to the victims?
A heated moment followed Jesse Butler as he went through security on his way to his first review hearing discussing his rehabilitation plan after he was sentenced as a youthful offender in August. Former attorney Ron Durbin of Tulsa, disbarred in July, heckled Butler on his way to the hearing. He also shouted at the army of deputies guarding the halls and courtroom.
You just made the Stillwater Sheriff's Department look bad. Why did y'all do that? Hiding the rapist. Why? What kind of special privilege would a normal person get?
One of Butler's victims was in the courtroom along with Butler's family as the judge detailed his 2-month review. Juvenile Affairs noted Butler has served 17 community hours over the weekend. He also has to conduct in-person office visits once a week and call check-ins once a day. Juvenile Affairs says Butler is operating as expected. A victim advocate speaking on behalf of the survivors shared concerns if Butler has acknowledged any wrongdoing or admission of guilt. Dozens of protesters want more to be done.
I can't believe what's been allowed to happen here. I stand with our community. We deserve better.
This protester brought her son to the Payne County Courthouse. She was also here in November.
I have raised my boys that no means no, and that I want him to experience what happens when that doesn't happen.
The review hearing ends with a stark warning from the judge telling Butler if he violates any of the supervision plan, he will go to adult prison. Butler exited the courtroom the same way he came in, bombarded by an onslaught of shouts and harsh words from Durbin.
Jesse, why did you rape those girls, Jesse? Do you have anything to say to the victims, Jesse? Why did you rape those girls? Are you as dumb as they say you are, Jesse? Is that why you were adjudicated in juvenile, because you're that stupid?
The next review hearing is set in April. Jesse Butler will be under extended jurisdiction until his 19th birthday in August. At the Payne County Courthouse, Rob Hagan, Fox 25 News.
And another Stillwater teen being charged as an adult after he was accused of rape. According to court documents, the incident happened last month at a Stillwater home. Police say Kanan Porter was 17 at the time of the incident, was taken into custody on his 18th birthday. Records show the victim told police Porter strangled her while he raped her. She also reported he bit her on the face and neck. Porter, however, claims the encounter was consensual. He's currently scheduled for a preliminary hearing on January 5th at the Payne County Courthouse.
Meanwhile, in Oklahoma, the rate of rape and attempted rape among females is up in the last decade. According to the State Department of Health, these reported crimes have been 45% higher in recent years. Data shows nationally, it's estimated that 17% of women and 3% of men have been victims of sexual violence in their lifetime. We are also seeing this type of violence become a serious public health problem for Oklahoma students. According to the Youth Risk Behavior Survey, 1 in 5 students reported having experienced a form of sexual violence. The survey found students who experience it are 66% more likely to develop symptoms of depression and are at a higher risk of suicide. It also discovered students who identify as gay, lesbian, or bisexual were 39% more likely to experience these type of crimes.
Dating violence also becoming a major problem among Oklahoma high school students. If you take a look at this survey from the Department of Health, it shows almost 1 in 10 high school students have experienced dating violence. According to the data, 15% of females experience sexual dating violence compared to 2% of males who have, and found 10% of females have been in a relationship where it became physical. Dating violence often includes other behaviors such as emotional abuse, digital abuse, or stalking. Now, there are some ways to prevent sexual violence. According to the CDC, it's important to teach teens healthy dating and intimate relationship skills. It's also necessary to establish healthy communication, ensuring they can talk to you about difficult topics. The CDC says to provide opportunities of empowerment and support for girls and women while creating protective environments in your workplace or in the classroom.
If you or someone you know needs help with a sexual assault case, you can reach out to the Oklahoma Safe Line 24 hours a day. This hotline is confidential and free for Oklahomans seeking help or information about domestic violence, stalking, and sexual assault. Just call 800-522-SAFE or 7233. Someone with the State Bureau of Investigation will take your call, and they do translate into 150 languages.
That was your big story breakdown. You can find a list of all of those resources on OKCFox.com, along with any updates we have for you on the Jesse Butler and Canaan Porter cases.
You can also find all of our other big story breakdowns on our YouTube page. Scan the QR code on your screen or search OKC Fox.